in the SS,
Dude, you
right?
can just say niggers.
Whew. Wow.
Oh,
So before I have another dishonest Vaush fan in my comments section saying, oh, well, it's okay that Vaush said this kind of racist thing because he misspoke and forgot to add conservative to the middle, which, by the way, doesn't make it any better. Yeah, let me specify what the main point of this is, you know, in a way that you can understand so that you don't get the straw man again. The point that was made in my previous video, which you can go check out too, it's quite fun, is that Vaush doesn't uphold his own standards, right? The community that he engages in, his fan base that he tries to appeal to, right? That side, that crowd, it's all fake. It's all a facade. Rules for thee, but not for me. As I stated, my point is that if this was anyone else, Vaush would be waving the flags of, oh, this person is clearly a white supremacist, and na 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 na. Of course, he would do straw man arguments. He would do all the greatest things ever that a dishonest person would do on the left. Why did these skeletons come out? Right? Why is it happening? Well, it has to do with Nicki Minaj fans. Now, I know in the past people didn't think there was going to be any real use for Nicki Minaj fans, given how they were kind of woke as well. But now it seems like the tides have turned. And since Nicki Minaj is, you know, basically the savior of all white people at this point in time, you know, we must bow down to the queen, to the goddess right now. What kind of weird Twilight episode is this? Twilight Zone! But they found Vaush using the hard R about a year ago. And then Vaush, well, he has a pinned tweet from a year ago that he goes on to explain why, just exactly why he dropped the N-bomb. And it's basically saying, it's okay when I do it, it's not okay when other people do it. So let's go ahead and read this. In this video, I drop an N-bomb. Big one, hard R. I did this to show my fuck. Dude, really? Interlocutors. Tell me if I pronounced that right. Vaush uses big words because he's smart, guys. That their language doesn't impress me. That their slurs do not frighten or disarm me. You can see from their reactions that it worked. This was all part of his plan, guys. They were clearly taken aback. It was a power move, which I am entirely unashamed of. But I understand how that language might have upset some of you. This is an example of what I would call an invocation of a slur's power for good. But that's a subjective judgment. I invite you all to discuss this in the comments, critically or otherwise. Basically saying, dude, give me more engagement so my video can pop off, and my fan base will basically believe any stupid bullshit that comes out of my mouth, so it doesn't matter, right? That's what he's saying, and it's pretty true for the most part. I gotta give Vaush credit for that. It's the equivalent of when Hassan Piker is saying to tax the rich, right? Meanwhile, you know, rocking a mansion, a new mansion right there. You know, it's the equivalent of AOC, you know, going to a glamorous event while wearing a dress that says tax the rich as well, right? It's the equivalent of that. You know, fanatics, you can't change their mind. And this goes for everything, right? This goes for, you know, mostly big creators, right? And I would even drop the commentary community in that, because there are a lot of hypocrisies and semantics that most commentating communities take part in. But the fanatics, the fans, you know, that are attached to their creator will not see this. They won't. That's why it's good to have a level of detachment to the internet as well as your favorite creator. And that's what I'm doing at this point in time. Can't say the same for other people, but that's fine. It's just something that happens. It's not exclusive to Vaush. However, it's something that you point out more in Vaush's case, because Vaush is the one who's basically telling you he doesn't do this. Vaush is the one that's the good guy, or how he likes to come off as the good guy. And that's what makes it extra frustrating, because when you say this shit, you understand that he is not the good guy. This is all perception. It's a case of perception is reality, which is really, really retarded. And I really hate that that's a thing in society, but it is. So Vaush basically gets to get away with this and the whole rules for thee but not for me, but I do think it's pretty funny and it's worth putting a spotlight on because, again, if this was anybody else, Vaush would go ahead and absolutely cannibalize that person and throw them to the wolves and go ahead and, depending on who it is and whether or not he could profit off of it, he would call them a white supremacist in a heartbeat. And that is why this is worth putting a spotlight on, and that's why this is worth getting the word out to people on, and this is why I choose to focus on Vaush for this video.